Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Thank you for coming back to my story of misplacing my voice. I'm DuchessDaphne, and this is episode 4. Already? Wow, okay. So, excuse me, I'm just taking you through the journey at the moment leading up to where I am in this present day with my voice, with having misplaced my voice. I always like to reiterate, like, I didn't lose my voice at any point. I definitely just misplaced it, which I guess has various meanings to it, as you'll kind of see as you look through episode 1 to 3 and going forward. So yeah, thank you for joining me. This week's episode, I wanted to touch on the guilt side of misplacing my voice. The guilt that I began to feel as everything started to unravel. I've talked so far about the things I was doing to find out what the issue was and how to deal with the issue and how to move forward with the issue. And I basically just came to this point where I started to realize, like, this is ultimately my fault. Like, it is through fault of mine. And at first, I genuinely thought that the reason I had got laryngitis twice, and that even after it had went, that I was still feeling such uncomfortable feelings, was because of grief and the amount I was crying. So, and again, I've touched on this a few times, and the reason I say that is because if you think about when you cry, there is sort of like a lump in your throat, people say, or people might say, you know, I've got that lump in my throat kind of feeling, maybe when they're heavy and full of emotion. And so I had that feeling 24/7. So I genuinely thought, you know, it's been a mixture of doing a lot of shows and using my voice in a new way, because I had now started my reggae set, so I wasn't doing R&B, soul, pop anymore, which was my like the music I was doing prior. It was now reggae, and it was like, you know, a mixture of dub and lovers rock, so using my voice in lots of different ways that I wasn't yet experienced in. So I thought, yes, you know, it's the crying and it's the overuse of my voice in a new way, and I think those were definitely contributing factors of it, no doubt, I think. But what I started to do was go back even further and think to myself, you know, this just didn't happen overnight. This is not just all of a sudden I have an issue with talking and singing, you know, out of the blue. I started to think about, like, what have I done so far in my life ever to look after my voice? Like, what have I done to look after my voice so far ever? Honestly, nothing. If anything, I've worked hard to suppress it, to abuse it, to control it, to judge it and critique it. Have I loved it? No. Have I nurtured it, cared for it? No, I haven't. And I just felt so guilty. Like, I just felt like, what did I expect? You know, I don't know if anyone else has had like a long-term issue. It doesn't have to be like a serious illness, or it could even be like a cold or something, and you might be thinking to yourself, to be honest, like, I run my body into the ground, what did I expect? Or you might think, like, I know that I'm not eating right, so what did I expect, you know? And that's that feeling I had. I was like, what did I expect? Just to give you some context. So the first ever show I did was at Bloomsbury Lanes. And it was just after lockdown. Just after the first lockdown. Must have been, I think, yeah. And I remember I enjoyed that show so much. So many of my family members came to support me. I had a great time. I was living my best life, okay? And what I would tell you is, like, I didn't even do a warm-up. I wasn't doing warm-ups then. I hadn't met Carrie, my vocal coach. I hadn't gone on Google and said, as a performer, what should you do before your performance? Like, I hadn't done any of that. My light just died. Well, let's just continue anyway. I hadn't done any of that, you know, and so I just knew to get up on stage and give my best performance. That's what I knew. So to give context, as I said, so then my warm-up was 2 to 3 double Cavossiers and Coke. And that was my warm-up. That was what got me in, you know, got my head in the game before getting on stage, and what got rid of my nerves, because I was literally like so nervous, like shaking. And that happened a couple of times up until the point where I stopped drinking. And I know it's the same for a lot of artists. I see a lot of artists at events I go to, by the bar, drinking, then you get up on stage. And I'm not here to judge anyone. I'm just saying, please, if that's you, look into what's best for you and what's best for your voice. I'm not judging what you do, honestly, but I'm just saying, like, just think about it, right? Again, long term, like, what do you want to do for your voice, for the best of your voice? So that was where I was at. And, you know, it was the same each time until I met my vocal coach. And I started to realize, okay, I need to be warming up before I rehearse. I need to be warming up before I go on stage. I need to be warming up just in general. And I started to feel so bad. I was like, you're so silly. Like, how could you not know any of this and da. But why? Because every artist I've ever interacted with or been in the studio with or been around doesn't do that. It's people who have been trained, you know, have gone to like college or university and studied music mostly. And I know I'm going to be saying this, and there'll be someone out there, and good for you, who knows and who knew from the beginning, self-taught to warm up and do things like that. And honestly, good for you, because I know that there will be people out there who do. But, you know, most of the artists I'm around, like self-taught artists who, you know, and even like rappers, like, the concept of saying to rappers to maybe do like warm-ups before they get on stage, when you're at a certain level, you wouldn't question someone giving you that advice. But when you begin, sometimes I think people think it's not as important. And of course it is. It's just as important, you know, in anything, especially when you're new and you need to get into those habits. So yeah, I remember thinking like, wow, my whole attitude towards this music and how I look after my voice has got to change. You know, I was thinking, Lord, please, like, I really hope that my voice comes back stronger. I really hope that I just I will do better. You know, I kept saying, like, I kept praying and I kept saying, like, I will do better. Because I know that I have a gift. Hello. Like, I know I have a gift. So I want to look after it. I don't want to abuse it, you know? But the guilt was just strong, man. It was just like, you've done this. You ruined, you know, it was like, you've ruined your career already before it's began. And, you know, to make much lighter of the situation. Like, that's not the case at all. But we're talking about how I was feeling, and we're talking about like what was real, and that was the guilt. And then I just started to analyze, okay, what was I doing, and what am I not going to do going forward? How can I benefit, you know? And again, like talking to my vocal coach and asking her opinion and things like that was super, super, super important at that time. And yeah, I mean, it was tough. But what I can say is, you know, I don't know what your spiritual beliefs are, if any, or what your general beliefs are about a higher being or a higher force. Me, I can't categorize myself. I can't put myself into a spiritual or religious box, because I don't live in one. I have done, but I would say, you know, I pray most days, and that's all I was praying for, is like, please just give me another chance, you know? Like, please give me a chance to show you that I won't take advantage, and yeah, I won't take advantage of the voice you've given me. Because at the end of the day, like, all people ever have to say about my music and my voice is good things. And so for me not to take that on board, for me not to take that on board and think, ah, well, you know, because it goes through your mind. Like, you think like, well, that could just be it then. I could just, fair enough, like the music was gonna happen, and then, you know, it didn't, because I had some difficulties and I didn't have time to work them out. You hear that so much. Like, you hear like people in their like 40s, 50s, 60s, even 30s, probably even 20s, saying like, yeah, I wanted to, you know, be a singer or a dancer or whatever it is that their dream was, and then there was a hiccup, and you're like, oh, okay, so what happened? And then they're like, this was the hiccup. And then you're like, and it's like, well, and then I gave up, right? But it will rarely ever come out like that. It will be, oh, and then I couldn't, and don't get me wrong, in some cases people cannot, they actually cannot, be it financial reasons, be it for their mental health, be it for, gosh, so many different reasons why people actually have to unfortunately give up on their dream, which makes me so sad. But I just said, nah, I have to turn this guilt around and use it so that it's not for no reason, you know, hence me even doing these videos. It's like, this journey cannot be for no reason. Like, this has been too transformational, too traumatic, too specific for me not to share it. The amount of people that are like, I'm sorry, you what? And then you what? Oh, I've never heard of that. Oh, okay. And it's not just down to the creative community, the artist community, you know, like it's down to everyone, because everybody has a voice, and we have to look after it, guys. We have to. If you counted in one day how many times you use your voice, you'd be astounded. You'd actually be astounded. If you counted how many different ways you use your voice, especially if you're an expressive person. Like, I'm always around expressive people. Like, we do accents, we do different pitches, we do different tones, we do different, obviously, volumes. Like, if you just actually took a note or a mental note of how much variety there is in your voice and how much your voice is allowing you to express yourself and be an instrument, you'll be like, what? So anyway, that's the general, you know, consensus of this is like, appreciate your voice. Take it from me, honey. Appreciate your voice. If you've got to watch Little Mermaid, I watched Little Mermaid for the first time, as in like the remake. Wow. First of all, she's an extraordinary singer. Second of all, I felt that one, I felt it. And that's when I said to myself, I have to reiterate that I did not lose my voice. because seeing her sit there and not be able to say a word, and knowing that like everything she has to say, all the words are just like stuck here and they're just trapped. Oh my God, I was just like, the days I took voice rest for like a couple of days at once do not even closely compare to anything like that. And I can't imagine the pain of anyone that has to go through that. And I'm so sorry if you've gone through that, because that is horrendous. And I was like, I have to be specific and say misplaced my voice, because I didn't lose my voice, you know. And I'm very blessed in that, regardless of the situation. I am very blessed in that. So that's that. But yes, episode 5 will be out next week. I do put these out weekly, and that is me, you know, staying committed to you who are following the journey along. I don't want to keep you on edge. I don't want to keep you on a cliff, you know. I've got your back. I've got you, don't worry. So yes, stay tuned for more of Misplacing My Voice with me, DuchessDaphne. Thank you.